everyone, and welcome back to the Hazardous Artist Series, Episode 9, Red Pandemonium. That's right, we are on my favorite animal, the red panda. This video is actually split into two parts, guys, because the coloring process is a little long. And if you're curious on how this process goes, head on over to my Hazardous Artist Series, Episode 1, for all your basic coloring, shading, and highlighting needs. Artist viewer discretion is advised, as it gets a little unconventional, hazardous, and sketchy. And if you guys are curious to the bane of my existence on how my lines are actually done, head on over to my Hazardous Artist Series, Episode 7, for all of your inking needs. Hazardous as it is, actually. So, let's talk about 2020. And when I say let's talk about 2020, I'm meaning right now in this current moment. In the western United States portion of Hellfire. And I say that because there are several states in the western United States that are on fire. Like Idaho, Montana, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. And I don't remember if I said Arizona, but Arizona too. And yeah, there's at least 2 fires in New Mexico, so I count it as they're on fire too. And if I missed your state and you guys are on fire too, I apologize. But I live in California, and my main concern is the giant one to the north of me, which is the Creek Fire. And it's been 6 days, I think, 6 or 7 days. I think it started on September 4th. And in just the short amount of 6 days, this fire has exploded to 175,000 acres in just 6 days. And you may be wondering, well, that's not too concerning. I mean, well, it is because of all the people who've already lost everything, but 175,000 acres isn't too bad. In a short amount of time, it is very concerning. And to give you guys a comparison, the rough fire, which burned 151,000 acres, burned for 3 months before it was contained. So in 3 months for 151,000, or 6 days with 175, which is 24,000 acres more than the rough fire in 2015. And it's still burning. And it has been at 0% containment for 5 days. They finally made some headway, and now it is 6% contained, which doesn't sound like a lot, but with the last few days being so explosive and so widespread, 6% is progress that I will take. And I know they will just keep making progress from here. So this fire, Creek Fire, has affected pretty much everyone in Shaver Lake and Mammoth Lake, and I do believe China Peak was also one of those ones that was evacuated. And then it's spreading in north, south, and east, with more of its focus in the south and the eastern portions of its spreadability. But it's concerning, and I don't live too incredibly close to it for me to actually think I need to be evacuated, but I live close enough where I'm watching it and I see all the smoke coming in. So, and I've been lucky because there's been some wind going through these mountains that the smoke has been relatively just passing by. But to my friends in the north, more notably my cousin in the north, Jessie, she doesn't really get that luxury of wind. So she's got 2 fires near her. Not nearly as close as the Creek Fire is to me, but there is no winds coming in to push the smoke out. And so it's been bright red to deep orange, almost like an apocalypse had happened. Like if someone took the koi out of the Northern Water Tribe, put it back. And that was a comment that was put on a picture from Salem, Oregon, because it was just a deep, deep red. And I laughed because that's an Avatar The Last Airbender reference from the season 1 finale. So, yeah, it's a little crazy out here on the western U.S. portion. And Colorado even has I call them the famous wildfires. Cameron Peak Fire is starting to make its rounds around my Facebook news feed. Creek Fire, obviously, because I have friends who live in the valley and in the mountains, so that's the number one news source for the Creek Fire. Outside of the Cal Fire official website, where I've been watching the spread, the fire perimeter of Creek Fire grow closer and closer to my home. And like I said, it's concerning for me, but it's not. I'm not panicking over it because I have faith that these wonderful people fighting this fire, risking their lives for all of us, will be able to figure out a way to keep it spread away from residential areas. And these are just monster fires, you guys. These are absolute monster fires. And they're spreading as if someone upstairs is going, I don't like this anymore. 2020 is just, let's just get rid of everything here in 2020. And I've seen some theories online that make me blink twice because somehow my superstitious self is like, oh my gosh, why is that making sense? So one of my favorite, I guess you could call them conspiracy theories, I think it's more of a meme conspiracy at this point, is that when the Mayan calendar, everybody knows the Mayan apocalypse of 2012, right? Okay, so when the Mayan calendar switched to the Gregorian calendar, which is our current calendar system, we ended up missing 8 years, according to meme experts. So please take this with a grain of salt when I say this. But these are meme experts. And so they say we're really in 2012 and not 2020, according to the Mayan calendar. And I laugh at it because at this point in 2020, I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but I'm laughing. I have to laugh because what else am I supposed to do? Just live in fear and not be able to sleep because of things that could or are or will happen? I can't. I wouldn't be able to sleep at all. And I have overthinking tendencies, so it's just better to laugh at memes and be more informed about what is going on in not just your area, but the whole world. And even though I don't know if you guys have this tendency, especially if you have never experienced the trauma of a natural disaster or even with the pandemic, but when you are experiencing, not experienced or will experience, but experiencing an event that could be traumatic, or even an event that is likely to hit you very, very, very soon, you tend to be a little close-minded and you're more hyper focused on what is going around you specifically. And I think that's what's happening to me on a smaller scale, is that I'm closed-minded and hyper-focused on the creek fire and its spread and how it's spreading. And I might have made a couple really awkward phone calls to determine evacuation advisories and maybe like a fire direction projection, which is, fire is unpredictable, so there is no fire path prediction at all. So it's just, when I think back on it, there's only a part of me that's like, why did I make that phone call? But at the time, I thought it was a real concern of mine because of how fast the creek fire was spreading and how far south it got from Shaver Lake. So I thought it was, more to keep a peace of mind for myself. But at the same time, even though I'm hyper focused on the creek fire, I also understand that there are several states on fire And I'm surprised, although I don't get news, but I'm surprised that my Facebook isn't talking more about the fact that all of the western United States is on fire, from Washington down south to California to out east as far as Colorado and Montana. So, but I guess California, there's a lot of biases because California is heavily populated, pretty popular state to be in. So, but it's crazy. And a lot of these wildfires you can see from the airs. If you go further out enough away from the overcast of the smoke, you can see it just rising up into the atmosphere like pillars of just gross ash. And I do have ash falling at my house. My car, I cleaned my car, and the next day ash began to fall. So I was a little irate with that particular knowledge. And you guys, we are coming to a close on this video. If you guys are curious, or maybe you're in the area of a wildfire in particular around here, then you can go to fires.ca.gov/incidents to get a rough idea of the fires near you, how many acres have burned, and just the fire perimeter in general. But guys, please stay safe. These volunteers and firefighters and National Guard, they're all working very hard to keep these fires contained in all of the western United States. Some of these people have to go outside their home state to battle a fire somewhere else. Keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your prayers. So if you guys enjoyed this little tidbit of current events going on in my home state, or if you guys just can't wait to see how this red panda comes out, well, join me next time. But until then, guys, dare to create. When I walk outside and ash is falling, I'm preparing for the Fire Nation. I'm hiding my benders. What are you guys doing?